Hey, this is Quincy from Give a Dog a Bone, coming at you from Give a Dog a Bone World Headquarters, aka my dining room table. I wanted to get on here real quick today and talk about taurine and dry food, dry kibble. We did a live last night, and there was a lot of stuff going on, technical difficulties were kind of scattered around. So I wanted to just hit on some bullet points in a format that can be saved and accessed anytime. So the study's going around talking about DCM, heart conditions in dogs, and trying to connect it to dogs eating grain-free kibbles. It's not really a new issue. The study came out a few months ago, but it's just now really picking up traction in news articles and radio and broadcasts and things like that. So we're obviously getting a lot of questions about this. One thing I will say is that in 2016, the finger was pointed at dogs eating low-protein lamb and rice kibbles. Now it's grain-free kibbles. The issues have been thought to be genetic. There's a lot of things that they're trying to sort through to figure out what exactly is causing these heart conditions in dogs. Some people in the industry, of course, who work in certain parts of the industry, are using this are spinning these tests and results in a way to try to push people back to feeding grain. And one article in particular said, stop reading ingredient labels, stop feeding grain-free foods, and instead feed foods that have chicken, beef, wheat, and corn, and rice, and that's what you want to feed. Simply adding grains back into the diet is honestly not going to solve anything. We know that the issue is taurine. Some of the dogs that have been studied have been found to be deficient in taurine, and some dogs weren't. But in either way, whenever dogs started getting the appropriate amounts of taurine through supplementation, through diet change, through food, they started to get better. They started to recover. Some recovered completely. Some, at the very least, significantly improved. So the issue is not simply going back and forth between grain-free kibble and grain-based kibble and all this stuff. The issue is making sure that dogs are getting enough taurine-rich foods. And here's the thing, grain-free kibble versus grain-based kibble, they're both going to have their issues as far as deficiencies and taurine deficiencies. The reality is that dry food exists for cost and convenience. It is a processed food. It's not going to provide everything that our animals need to thrive. It just can't. Just the same way that box of cereal isn't gonna provide everything that you need. We need variety. We need fresh food. We need foods that are rich in enzymes and amino acids and trace minerals and all this. Dogs need the same thing. And so what I want to do real quick is just tell you how to make sure that your dog is getting enough taurine. Obviously, first of all, if you think your dog has a taurine deficiency, get them tested. Take them to the vet. It's a simple check. They can find out. You want to know what you're trying to take care of. I think for the majority of us, we're just trying to make sure that our dogs are getting enough taurine, and they aren't experiencing issues resulting from deficiencies or anything like that yet. So, number one, a meat-rich, fresh, raw diet is going to be one of the best sources of taurine. What is taurine? Taurine is an amino acid. It is found in meat. It's found in animal products, particularly dark meat, hard-working muscle meat, organ meat, seafood, things like that. So it's particularly going to be rich in heart, sardines. It's actually really rich in goat milk. Raw goat milk is very rich in taurine. So that's what it is. That's where it comes from. The purpose of taurine is really to support the whole body. It supports cognitive function. It supports the eyes. It's going to support cardiovascular health, heart health. And so without taurine, a lot of things can go wrong. Now, taurine is not considered to be essential by AAFCO, which is the governing body who decides what can go in our pet's food. And the reason for that is because taurine can be synthesized by dogs with 2 other amino acids, which is great, sure. That's why pet food doesn't have to, show minimum levels of taurine. So the problem is that highly processed food is going to damage taurine. Kibble, the process it takes to create kibble and the heat and grinding and all that stuff, the taking out of all the moisture, it's going to affect taurine. It doesn't matter if the food is grain-free or grain-based, taurine is going to be affected. Ultimately, the issue is, unfortunately, highly processed food. So a fresh raw diet is going to certainly provide a lot of taurine, but it needs to be balanced. There needs to be plenty of muscle meat. There needs to be, plenty of organ meat. There needs to be plenty of heart included in the diet. Sardines and eggs and things like that can benefit it too, but it needs to be balanced. So, a lot of times I see people and they say they're feeding a raw diet, but all they're really doing is giving their dog a bunch of ground up chicken necks. It's okay. They're saying hi to the mail lady. Anyway, that's not going to be balanced. You need muscle meat, you need organ meat, you need all kinds of stuff. You can't just grind up some turkey necks and feed it to your dog and expect them to have everything they need for a long and healthy life. They're at least not going to thrive. There's certainly going to be deficiencies there. So a balanced, fresh raw food diet, like what we carry at Give a Dog a Bone in our freezers, Answers, Primal, Steve's Real Food, these brands, they're going to be balanced. They're going to use organ meat. I will say this, Answers uses the most organ meat in the industry. They actually use 30% organ meat, which is pretty awesome. So very, very rich in taurine. If you're feeding dry food, if you need to have dry food as part of your dog's diet, it's okay. It's understandable. It certainly has a purpose. I would recommend feeding the highest meat dry food as possible, certainly. But some things that you can add, freeze-dried heart treats. Freeze-dried chicken hearts, freeze-dried lamb hearts. We carry those from Canine Natural, from Vital Essentials, and some others. Give them some of those every day. Freeze-drying does not really damage the taurine from what I've been able to find. So raw freeze-dried chicken hearts, lamb hearts, all that stuff is going to be a great treat to add taurine in. Something else that you can add in is once a week, give your dog a whole raw sardine. We carry whole raw sardines at the store in the freezers, but if you don't have access, if you're not local to us, if you don't have access to fresh whole raw sardines, give them a can of sardines once a week. Just add it to their bowl. Make sure that it's going to be from a responsible source, of course, sustainable fishing, someone that's going to check for impurities, things like that. But you'll also want to make sure that it's in water and without salt. So just, simple, plain. That's going to be a great source of taurine. A couple of other things that you can add daily. Answers fermented raw goat milk is going to be an awesome source of taurine. Raw goat milk has a high amount of taurine in it, as well as a bunch of other amino acids and things like that. The Answers fermented fish stock. That's going to have whole raw fermented sardines in it. You can actually give that daily. I know you're not supposed to feed necessarily sardines every single day, but fermented sardines in this fish stock is actually going to be different. You're not going to have the same potential issues of feeding sardines every single day. So that's a great thing that you can add every single day. Add a raw egg every day if you want to their bowl, or a couple times a week. Maybe Saturday and Sunday is egg day. I don't know. But the egg yolks are going to contain a good amount of taurine. Of course, I recommend buying responsible, locally raised eggs from chickens that are raised on pasture. The healthier the chicken, the healthier the egg, the more nutrients that are going to be in it. So that's why you always want to buy the best eggs that you can. And honestly, eggs are fairly inexpensive. I mean, you can buy the best eggs in the world for here locally in Evansville for at the most $5-6 a dozen, sometimes less. Our neighbors at Elbert's, 2 doors down from us, they carry local eggs from a couple different farms, local farmers markets, or maybe your friend raises eggs. Great source of taurine. Something else that you can also do is, include some raw food into the diet. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It doesn't have to be just kibble or just raw food with, you can do both. You can do a couple raw meals a week if you can't do full raw food. Maybe you can do 50-50. Maybe you can do dry food in the morning and raw food at night. I think it's something else that a lot of people don't think of is you can actually get the small portions of the raw food. So the Answers nibbles, which come in little 1 ounce little nuggets, almost like 1 ounce little sliders. The Primal nuggets are little 1 ounce sliders. The Primal Pronto, which is just a little scoopable. Get those and use those. Let those be your treats. Instead of grabbing your treats out of the cabinet, grab your treats out of the refrigerator. And that's a great way to add in taurine-rich foods. Now, obviously, all of this stuff is going to have far more than just taurine in it. It's going to have healthy fats. It's going to have vitamins and minerals that your dogs can actually use. It's going to have omegas. You're not adding extra carbohydrates to the diet. You're adding good quality protein and fat and all that stuff. But I know that a lot of people are curious about taurine right now, and all of these are going to add a lot of taurine to the diet plus some. Of course, I'm not a veterinarian, but I can honestly tell you, for those of you who are feeding a balanced raw diet and you're feeding raw goat milk and you're feeding sardines and you're feeding fish stock and you're giving eggs and you're doing all these things, you're giving plenty of heart, you probably don't have anything to worry about, realistically. But as with anything, if you ever are concerned that your dog might have any deficiencies or anything like that, please go to your vet, find out what it is that you're actually trying to treat before you start treating it. But you're never going to go wrong with adding whole, real, fresh food to your dog's diet. So yeah, that's my spiel. If you have any questions about maybe the food that you're feeding, things that you can add to make sure they're getting enough taurine, if you want help on transitioning your dog to a raw diet, stop in and see us. Come talk to me. Come talk to my wife Liz or any of our awesome team. Everybody that works for us. We're so lucky to have people who are passionate about pets and pet nutrition and being good animal guardians. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Have a good one.